Hey guys, what's going on? This is Brad from the Ed Army, and as you could tell today, What's the Scoop is back as we are going to be talking about the hero archetype as we are already into BT21. The world convergence has taken place, and we are all here as we're going to be looking over our various protagonists and their culminating decks, as I do think this will be a very interesting read through and look at of these new cards, and I do hope you enjoy, and I hope you learn something along the way. But as always, do me one little favor and help out as we need you to help accelerate the subs. It always helps when you decide to join the Ed Army as we are growing constantly and working as hard as we can and getting the information out to you. As in What's the Scoop? As you know, when you go ahead and get a first look, so do I, as I get to read these amazing cards off for you, as you can sit back, put me in the background, do whatever you need to, hang out or work, and just simply have me tell you about these amazing cards, and you can come here and find the catalogs on all of the cards, because that's what this video is for. But we're going to be jumping into it as there is a lot of cards for this archetype. We actually have multiple eggs for the archetype already. We also have a plethora of different rookies as well. Entire lines with champions all the way to level 5s, and finally culminating with a level 6s and even a level 7 in the set. And don't even get me started with the litany of tamers we have that stretch over the generations of Digimon. So we have a lot to talk about, and we're going to be jumping into it right now because it does have a lot of cards, and I don't want you to have to hear me talk about it all day. But we're going to be jumping straight into it as we're starting off with the first egg, and that being the Coromon out of BT21. This one is a yellow egg, and for your turn, once per turn, when any of your yellow or red tamers suspend, you get to draw one card. Pretty cool. Moving into the red egg of the archetype, we also have Gurimon, which when attacking once per turn, if this Digimon has Gamamon in its name, in its text, or the hero trait, you get to draw one card. Pretty cool. Starting off, we will be jumping into the generations as we're going to be starting off with Gamamon, as Gamamon does join the hero ranks, as we can have it Digivolve for a cost of 0 on top of Gurimon or a level 2 with the hero trait. During your turn, while you have 2 or fewer security cards or 3 or more hero trait tamers with different names, this Digimon may Digivolve into Seriousmon in the hand for a Digievolution cost of 4, ignoring Digievolution requirements. For its inheritable, it can, during your turn, this Digimon gets 2000 DP. It is a dual color red and purple Digimon, so pretty cool, and they all are dual color. Jumping into the next one, we have Gumdramon here, as Gumdramon can Digivolve on top of any level 2 with save in its text or with the hero trait for a cost of 0, and on play by trashing one card with save in its text or the hero trait from your hand, you get to draw 2. Then on deletion, you can save this Digimon. For its inheritable effect during your turn, this Digimon gets 2000 DP. Pretty neat. Jumping into Shoutmon of this specific hero traded archetype, this one Digivolves on top of any level 2 with the Cross Heart trait or hero trait for a cost of 0, and during your turn, when this Digimon would Digivolve into a Digimon with Cross Heart or the hero trait, you can reduce the Digievolution cost by 1, and on deletion, you can save this Shoutmon. For its inheritable effect, your turn, this Digimon with the Cross Heart trait gains Rush. Pretty neat. Jumping into our next Digimon, we have Agumon. Specifically, we have the Savers Agumon, which can Digivolve on top of any Coromon or a level 2 with the hero trait for a cost of 0. And additionally, during your turn, while your opponent has a level 6 or higher Digimon, or you have 3 or more hero trait tamers with different names, this Digimon may Digivolve into Shine Greymon in the hand for a Digievolution cost of 4, ignoring Digievolution requirements. For its inheritable, during your turn, this Digimon gets 2000 DP and is a dual color yellow-red. Looking at the Guilmon from BT21, this one is a dual color purple-red and can Digivolve on top of either Gigimon or a level 2 with the hero trait for a cost of 0. For its on play, by trashing one card with Guilmon, Growlmon, Galamon, or Megidramon in its name or the hero trait from your hand, you get to draw 2 cards, and for its inheritable on deletion, you gain 1 memory. Pretty neat. Jumping back, we even look at the brand new BT21 Vmon. This one can Digivolve on top of either Demi Vmon or a level 2 with the hero trait for a cost of 0, and during your turn, when this Digimon would Digivolve into a Digimon card with the armor form or hero trait, you can reduce the Digievolution cost by 1, and for its inheritable during your turn, this Digimon gets 2000 DP. It is a dual color blue-red. Pretty neat. Now we're going to be jumping into the level 4s for this archetype. Now I will make one note before I jump through. I did not include the actual Atmon Digimon because although we do have the hero trait on Haru and a lot of his Digimon with Gachmon, they unfortunately don't actually have direct synergy with this archetype. So unfortunately I did leave them out because it's mostly the Digimon have synergy with each other, and the Atmon, although are Digimon and treated as Digimon, they don't actually possess any direct synergy with the rest of the archetype. Jumping into our first level 4, we have the brand new ARCHTYPE. This one can digivolve on top of any level 3 with save in its text or with the hero trait for a cost of 2. And then on play and when digivolving, you may play one tamer card with the hunter or hero trait from your hand without paying the cost. And then on deletion, you may place one Digimon card with save in its text or the hero trait from your hand or trash under any of your tamers, and then you get to save. Pretty cool. It can also digicross -2 with one Digimon with save in its text, being a 4-cost hard play level 4, so pretty neat. And its inheritable allows you that during your turn, this Digimon gets 2000 DP. Looking at the brand new King Shoutmon, as we jump into this one, it can digivolve on top of any level 3 with the Cross Heart trait or the hero trait for a cost of 2. Its main skills are Raid and Piercing, which is pretty neat. And then on deletion, you may place one Digimon card with the Cross Heart, Blue Flare, or hero trait from your hand or trash under any of your tamers, and then you get to save this Digimon. For its rule trait is always treated as Shoutmon as well, and you can digicross this Digimon, reducing it by 1 with any one Digimon with the Cross Heart trait, making it a 4-cost hard play. And for its inheritable effect, it shares the similar one we're seeing all the time. Being your turn, this Digimon gets 2000 DP. Pretty beefy Digimon. Now we jump into the first of the Frontier cards, mainly just to being Agunimon, as Agunimon is obviously the representation because there is no rookie or official rookie for the hero trait. Additionally, for Agunimon, it can digivolve on top of Burning Greymon for a cost of 0, and then when digivolving, you may place one hybrid or hero trait card from your hand or trash as this Digimon's bottom Digi-Evolution card or any of your, or under any of your red tamers with inherited effects. Then, for when attacking, this Digimon may digivolve into a red hybrid or hero trait Digimon card in the hand with the Digi-Evolution cost reduced by 1, and it carries the inheritable of during your turn, this Digimon gets 2000 DP. Now we jump into the brand new BT21 Magnamon. This one can digivolve on top of Vmon or any level 3 with the hero trait for a cost of 3. It carries Blocker and Armor Purge, and when digivolving, this Digimon unsuspends. Then one of your Digimon or one of your opponent's Digimon, you give them -2000 DP for the turn for each card with the Armor Form trait in your trash. Pretty cool. And this is a dual color blue-yellow, as you can tell. Jumping into the first of the level 5s, we have ARCHTYPE Superior Mode here. This one digivolves into any level 4 with save in its text or with the hero trait for a cost of 3. It carries Raid and Piercing, and then when digivolving, this Digimon may attack without suspending. And during all turns, this Digimon gets plus 1000 DP for each of its Digi-Evolution cards, which is pretty crazy. And for its inherited effect during your turn, this Digimon gets 2000 DP. Pretty nuts. Jumping into the Omni Shoutmon from BT21, this one can digivolve on top of Shoutmon for a cost of 4 or a level 4 with the Cross Heart trait / hero trait for a cost of 3. Then this card is also treated as Shoutmon for Digicross, which is pretty standard at this point. And at the end of the attack, you may play one card with the Cross Heart, Blue Flare, or hero trait from your hand with the play cost reduced by 5. And if you did, you delete this Digimon. On deletion, you may place one Digimon card with the Cross Heart or Blue Flare trait from your hand or trash under any of your tamers, and then you get to save this Digimon. Also, its Digicross requirement can reduce it by 2 if you use specifically just Shoutmon. And for its inherited effect during your turn, this Digimon with the Cross Heart trait gains Rush. I really like this Omni Shoutmon. I didn't want one to take away, so I read the others, but I mean, this one is actually really stacked for Cross Heart as well as for the hero archetype, just being really strong. Jumping into our first level 6, we have Seriousmon. Seriousmon is here as it digivolves on top of any level 5 with Gamamon in its text or with the hero trait for a cost of 3. Its main skills are Security Attack +1 and Raid, and when digivolving and when attacking, by placing one Digimon card with Gamamon in its text or the hero trait from your hand as this Digimon's bottom Digi-Evolution cards, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest DP. Pretty nice. Jumping into Shine Greymon, being one of the other bosses for specifically heroes, but also its own deck. This one digivolves on top of any level 5 with Rise Greymon in its name, or with the hero trait for a cost of 3, and its main skill is Raid. When digivolving and when attacking once per turn, you may delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 9,000 DP or less. And then when attacking once per turn, by suspending one of your yellow or red tamers, this Digimon gains security attack +1 and 3,000 DP for the turn. With all the inheritables stacked up, it makes this one insanely big. But finally, we come to the final boss of this archetype, technically for now, being their first level 7, that being the Shoutmon Cross 7 Superior mode. This one is really cool, as it's the second Cross 7 Superior mode ever released, as this one digivolves on top of any level 6 with the hero trait for a cost of 5 specifically, and otherwise it does need to be played for Digicross otherwise. When this card would be played by placing one of your Shoutmon under it, you reduce the play cost by 1, and cards in your trash can also be placed for Digicross, which is pretty cool. Then, when attacking and once per turn, you may return one of your opponent's Digimon with no Digi-Evolution cards to the bottom of the deck. For its Digi-Crossing requirements, it can be -1 and is infinite, as many Digimon as you like, and they had to be Digimon with Cross Heart or Blue Flare traits and different card numbers, making this the boss. But we're not done here, as we still have all of the tamers to cross by, so hang on with me. Jumping into it, we will briefly go over the secret rare. This is BT21 Taikamiya. This one is your first memory setter and most important memory setter for this archetype, being that at the start of your turn, you obviously get to set your memory to 3, but what it has is that your turn, when one of your opponent's Digimon attacks, by suspending this tamer, you draw 1, and for its main effect once per turn, you may play one adventure or hero trait card with a play cost of 2 or less from your hand without paying the cost. For each of your tamer's colors, add 1 to this effect's play cost maximum, then return this tamer to the bottom of the deck. Very cool. Jumping into Davis Motamiya, this one at the start of your main phase, if your opponent has a Digimon, you gain 1 memory, and then its main effect, by suspending this tamer and trashing the top stacked card of one of your armor form trait Digimon, you get to draw 1 and gain 1 memory. For its security effect, you simply play it out. Very solid. Additionally, we now move to Takato Amatsuki, as this brand new one at the start of your main phase. If your opponent has a Digimon, gain 1 memory. Simple. All turns, when any of your Digimon are played or Digivolve, by suspending this tamer until your opponent's turn ends, one of your Digimon with Guilmon, Growlmon, Gallantmon, or Magidramon in its name or the hero trait gain blocker. And if there are 10 or more total cards in both players' trashes, this also gets 2,000 DP, and it's for security. You simply play it out. Moving to the Takuya Kambara, this one for its simple security effect allows it to be played, and at the start of your main phase, one of your Digimon or Tamers may Digivolve into a Digimon card with the hybrid or hero trait in the hand for each of your red Tamers with different names, but you reduce the effect's Digi-Evolution cost by 1, so pretty cool. Additionally, for its inheritable effect during your turn once per turn, when your opponent's security stack is removed from, you may play 1 red Tamer card from your hand without paying the cost. Very solid. Moving into Marcus Daimon here, at the start of your main phase, if your opponent has a Digimon, you gain 1 memory, and then on play, one of your Marcus Daimons may suspend during all turns once per turn. When this Tamer suspends, one of your Digimon gains piercing, and you get 3,000 DP for the turn. Then one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 3,000 DP for the turn. For security, you simply play it out. And additionally, we move now into our brand new Taikikudo. This one at the start of your main phase, by placing 1 Digimon with the Cross Heart or Blue Flare or hero trait from your hand under this tamer, you get to draw 1 and gain 1 memory. And for your turn, when your Digimon are played or Digivolve, if any of them have the Cross Heart or hero trait, by suspending this tamer, one of them may attack. During its security, obviously, you simply play it. Moving in to the brand new Taiguru Akashi, this one at the start of your main phase, by placing 1 Digimon card with the save in its text or the hero trait from your hand under this tamer, draw 1 and gain 1 memory. And for your turn, when any of your Digimon would Digivolve into a Digimon card with save in its text or the hero trait, by suspending this tamer and placing 1 card from under your tamers as any of their bottom Digi-Evolution cards, you reduce the Digi-Evolution cost by 1. Pretty cool. And then For its security, you simply play it. And finally, we reach the brand new hero, Amanakawa. This one allows you at the start of your main phase, if your opponent has a Digimon, gain 1 memory, and during your turn, when effects place Digi Evolution cards under any of your Digimon with Gamamon in their text or the hero trait. By suspending this tamer, you draw 1 and gain 1 memory. For its security effect, you simply play it out. Now, this is all the cards for it. I do know that the brand new Atmon Digimon are there, and the Atmon cards are there, but they don't really support Hero in the same way. They don't really support the traits that way. But we're jumping into as we talk about all the cards, and I want to give a brief rundown of why this deck is so interesting. So when it comes down to what this deck does, it's really a really cool amalgamation. So if you were just a fanboy and you've always wanted to just play every protagonist like Digimon partner in a singular deck, they finally tried to do it, and this is the best way to do it. I mean, special evolution conditions is the way to do it, but they also tie it thematically together with all of their archetypes. So in theory, all of these cards that have been presented today can fit into their archetypes, but simultaneously also support the hero deck, which I think is actually rather cool. When we look at the rookies, it is really crazy to see the litany of different effects and how they weave together. You also see which ones you kind of want to pair up, which ones are slightly better, and which ones are kind of mandatory to play in the deck depending on your play style. I do like that for this entire archetype. There is so much to talk about in terms of the variety. So whether you feel like you want to have your warping a Digimon, you have Agumon and Gamamon to go into your boss Digimon, but if you choose to not really feel like you need those, you could augment them out for more filter searches in the case of something like Gumdramon and Guilmon. Additionally, we see Vmon and Shoutmon offering reduced Digi Evolution costs, which I think is fantastic. And although I do have a Goonimon here, it is one of your level 4s, but nonetheless still extends your strategy out as much as you like. But the key factor of this deck is that you can mix and match which you feel like in ratios, depending on how you play, but also based on what you want to feel it out, because these cards are different. When we move into the level 4s, I think what stands out here is that because of the really linking aspect of the heroes in the Cross Wars final season, you do see that like Aristodramon and Shoutmon King version really do have a little bit more, like, I would say, pronounced effects, because it's more tilted towards understanding that there were the final like kind of heroes of that saga, which closed off I think all of original Digimon, technically all the way from Adventure to Cross Wars' finale. But the key elements here are still there, where these two are the more focused on. The other level 4s are still important. Like Magnamon really doesn't feel like it should be a part of the archetype, but it does have an important element because it is your only like blocker inherently. And what I mean is this one is your only Digimon that can have blocker immediately. So I think running a copy or two of this is actually fine, because if you Digivolve this on something on top of something like the Vmon, or if you Digivolve this on top of something like the Shoutmon, you can reduce its evolution cost. So it is not like a bad card. I think it's pretty solid. So it is good to know. Getting into a Goonimon, I think a Goonimon and by proxy Takato are one of the most important pieces for the deck. They really tie it together very well, and there are welcomed additions in Red Hybrid because they're just strong nonetheless. Looking at both King Shoutmon and Aristodramon, I do think that they have slightly more powerful effects to support both their strategies, but also additionally support the hero archetype. Like when you look at the effects on the Shoutmon King version, having Raid and Piercing does seem a little weird, but you have to understand if it's on top of any of your rookies at this point, it's already at like a 7k, so that's not like too bad to start hitting things with, and you get Raid and Piercing, so you could do a check. But also it does have like save and on deletion, so it doesn't really lose you anything when you look at it from the perspective of what the deck is trying to do, so it's really cool. And then when we look at Aristodramon, I think Aristodramon is really cool because being able to like just play out the different tamer cards is important, because I do think that's one of the weaknesses the deck probably still has. It's just a bit slow, and that's just because, you know, you have to play out those tamers, and by already having one that has no restriction, it just has to be played or digivolved. It makes Aristodramon a very important piece because you really want to kind of get the tamers down as quickly as possible. So that is always, you know, a very important element. Looking at the level 5s, I think only having 2 isn't a crime. I think it's actually really fine because you don't really need to clog up too much at the top end, anyways for right now, and some of the other level 5 Digimon can just support their other archetypes, because I don't think they wanted to make BT21 just solely focused on the hero archetype. So I think that was a smart option in my opinion. But going into superior mode, I think this one's the one to talk about because it's basically its own boss Digimon. Being able to have raid and piercing is already strong, but then when you digivolve, it can attack without suspending. So in theory, some people might think, well, why does this 10k attack? It wouldn't make sense. But if you think about it from the standpoint of how the deck functions, you could have already loaded a couple of sources into it. So it could be, in theory, if it has at least 2 sources, hitting for 14. But if you were to use some of the other effects of the Tamers, you could have digivolved this thing with 3 attacking DP sources and be hitting for like 16 already. And that's insane with raid and piercing, because you can run over things for like 16 DP, 16,000 I mean, and then go ahead and pierce, and you're probably surviving that check. Additionally, this card during all turns gets 1000 DP for each of its Digi Evolution cards already. So if you have 3 sources underneath, this thing hits for 13,000. And with these other litany of DP effects, you start to understand this thing is just hitting like a truck. It doesn't have security attack +1, unfortunately, but it doesn't need to. It's just going to start stomping down things. And since it can attack without spending on Digivolve, it can already take out a threat and then proceed to take out another Digimon with its normal attack, effectively giving you like 2 checks. So pretty good. So there's nothing wrong there. Then when we move into the new Omega Shoutmon, I really like this one because of its synergy with both of its decks. It really does showcase that this one was thought out really well, because it really does help out a lot in Crossheart. But when you look at what it does for the hero archetype, it does kind of give you a little bit more extension. So what I mean by this is when you are able to, at the end of the attack, play one of your Crossheart Blue Flare hero trait cards from your hand, and you reduce that cost by 5, it's pretty neat because when you delete this Digimon, this may seem like somewhat counterproductive because you'll lose those sources. The point is then you proceed with that on deletion, where you get to place one of those cards underneath any of your tamers. And the key element you want to do is always place a Crossheart back, because this effect is more designed to support the Crossheart side and not the hero side, which is understandable. But the element still is that you can load back because you have stuff like Shoutmon, you have King Shoutmon, and you also have this card. So you're effectively wanting to load back a Shoutmon underneath so that you can then load this thing back with save, and then you have more resources to use later. Unfortunately, it's inheritable. Giving a Crossheart Rush is important, but not important at the same time, because it only really functions with its level 7, but the elements here are still there where it makes the deck strong. When we cover the level 6s, because this one's really, or these are really simple, because I think it's a good thing they kept it simple, because I don't think you need to complicate things. The Serious Mon is fantastic. It's just a pretty heavy hitter. Like, it's meant to security attack +1, use raid to get rid of things, and then when you stack that with some of the Tamers effects, you can get different effects like that. But additionally, it's just to get really, really big and hit, but also can warp Digivolve from a Gamamon, so it gives you that reliability of if maybe your opponent clears your field or they know how your deck plays, you can always come back and hit them with a level 6 that they're not expecting. Additionally, Shine Greymon also fits that dynamic, but having raid as well is good, because this deck on its top end really wants to clear threats off. But also Shine Greymon does have its effects where it's able to kind of manipulate your Tamers as it normally does, trying to suspend down those Marcuses to get those buffs and also different effects from those Marcuses. But additionally, it allows you to delete your opponent's Digimon with the 9,000 DP or less, which is already pretty solid, because if there's floodgates you need to get rid of, or just simply get rid of an opponent's like level 5 and lower, it's probably pretty good at doing that, because that effect is just really good in general to remove. When we look at superior mode, I think this is just a really good card to utilize as a boss, because technically it's more of a Crossheart card, obviously, with like Blue Flare, but this card is designed specifically in this deck to just be a final removal, and you do give it rush through your Shoutmons that you will run in hero anyways. So it's really cool to see the usage of superior mode as a boss for this deck, because it does allow people to play this deck kind of out of the box if they really want to, and it's a little weird at first, but I think it comes together pretty well. You just need to make sure you have enough of your pieces. When it comes to our different Tamers too that we want to talk about, I think Tai is obviously the most important one to talk about, because he is probably the centerfold of all of the hero strategy as well as adventure, because of his ability to play reduce down after he bounces himself back to the deck. This strategy benefits more in that it kind of accelerates because of all the different Tamers you have access to, but in like adventure, this card's obviously like really insane, and I've talked about it a lot on the channel, so do go check that out. But the point is, Tai is probably a mandatory. I think you probably want to play 4 of him if you can, because he's just able to get you, because the key thing that you need to understand for Tai is that Tai also gives you access to all of your other tamers because they all have the hero trait. So it is very important to understand that when you're looking at Tai Kamiya in this position, because the deck an adventure really does take advantage of it as well, but like for this deck as well in this strategy, you do need it because it takes care of everything. Cards like Davis are interesting because if not for something like the actual Magnamon that happens to be a hero card, I don't know if you'd run this, but I do think you have to, because at 1, this card helps because it's your only blue tamer, like blue-red, so you do want to have access to that color, but also this card's actually very good because it allows you to effectively proc your Armor Purge, and then allows you to build on top of it, so you can go into other level 4s on top of that level 3. Takato is very good because giving blocker and DP is always a good thing, and although you need to have the 10 cards or more total cards on both players' trashes to get that 2k DP, I still like the fact to get blocker, and Takato is a 3-cost tamer, so that just makes him a bit easier to hard drop. And then talking about Takuya is very important because in both the hybrid and this hero deck, he is fantastic. Him giving you the ability to reduce your digi evolution through his effect while you have different red tamers with names, I think that's a fantastic effect because you're really only utilizing that specifically in the Unified Spirits deck, where the tamer or the dual color tamers happen to be blue and red or green and red. But in this version, you're using it because all of your heroes are going to have different names, obviously. So it's really cool to kind of work that way and function it back into the deck. And the inheritable is really good to just get you a red tamer when you remove from the security stack. So I think that's really crazy. Going into Marcus is just really good because he's like your kind of your technical piece. You use this as a way to reduce DP but also get piercing. I think you run one of this because although I like Marcus, I don't think it does a lot of work in this deck. It does more work, I think, in Shine Greymon if you want to run this, because you can use this as a way to kind of functionally gain extra memory but also remove stuff, because you get piercing, you get the extra DP, but then also you can hit something for 3,000 minus DP, meaning that this Marcus, that when it becomes like a Digimon, if you want to make it a Digimon and you attack with it and you suspend it, it's really focused on like adding buffs to your Digimon instead of like debuffing your opponent's field. So very cool. Both Taiki and Tigeru are important because both of them are like the key elements of the deck. And what I mean is they both add elements that you want. So like Taiki, on the other hand, on the first place, lets you slot sources underneath him basically to gain a memory. So it can, in theory, allow you to use something like Digicross. This is more important for the cross-heart strategy, but when you look at its second effect, it allows your hero trait Digimon to effectively have like a blitz attack where you suspend this tamer and then one of them may attack. So it's very important. Tigeru does something very similar, but in a different way, where what Tigeru is allowing you to do is matches that first effect by Taiki, so it allows you to accelerate by drawing and gaining that memory to keep your turn longer. But in return, when you digivolve into like a hero trait or a save, you suspend it, place one card from under any of your tamers. It says under any of your tamers. And then as the bottom Digi Evolution card to one of your Digimon, and then they reduce that Digi Evolution by 1. So Tigeru allows you to accelerate your plays, but also gives you inheritables you want. Although most of them are just DP focused, the point is if you need something slotted in that's underneath any one of your tamers specifically, you can go ahead and get it access to it through Tigeru's effect. Talking about Hero really quickly, Hero is interesting because his is more of an extending effect where you get that memory and you get that draw one. So you're using it morally as a way to attack your opponent or enter when the sources enter underneath. You can go ahead and get access to this in combination with something like Tigeru. So you can use Tigeru's effect and then go ahead and work together with heroes. Personally, I think this archetype's very good. I think it's obviously set for what it is right now, but believe me, this deck is by no means complete. I think the hero archetype or hero trait will definitely be expanded upon because, as you can tell, there are other Digimon that appeared in this specific hero or the crossover and Cross Wars that have not shown their final forms yet. So stuff like, where are we missing? We're missing the Aldamon as well as the Sunomon. We're also missing the Imperial Ultramon line. We're missing Omnimon. We're missing Gallantmon. So best believe, in my opinion, we're going to be getting it soon. But guys, that's all I've got for you today. I did like going over the hero archetype technically, and it is really cool. I think it's going to get more cards in the future, but do be on the lookout as a lot of decks are supported from this specific archetype, and it's really cool to see them get support. But as always, guys, this has been Brad from the Ad Army signing off, and for all of you out there, to sign on.